IVM.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Raw and Organic Podcast. This is your host Kunal Rajput, wishing you a very happy, healthy and prosperous new year. Like the start of every new year, I have set certain goals for myself. One of them is to get amazing guests on this show so that we can learn and get their brains on different topics that will help us to be better on personal and professional front. Now that said, setting goals at the start of the year is such a mainstream thing to do, right? To think of it, it is so easy to follow things that are mainstream. Be it music, be it following trends, be it going to restaurants, having cuisines, doing certain kind of jobs, following different kind of academics, or for that matter, even following workout programs. Now, personally, I have immense respect for individuals who don't take the well-trodden path and do things that they really believe in. It's difficult to do what you truly love, especially when the people are not aware of it or when the masses are not aware of it. The process of educating, informing the masses, and then making a business out of it is such a difficult task. And that brings me to our guest for today. She's someone who is one of the pioneers in a niche category of fitness in this country. And today's conversation is all about knowing her journey, what she does, and how you can do it too. So, have a listen to this podcast. It's a very informative, raw, and organic conversation. And if you like it, please go say hi to Joanna and let her know that you enjoyed this. Hello, welcome to a new episode of Raw and Organic Podcast. This is your host, Kunal Rajput. And today we have Joanna as a guest. Joanna is a trained professional dancer, a certified yoga, flexibility, and pole dance teacher, and also one of my very good friends. She has been in this industry since a very long time. And today's conversation is going to revolve around a topic which I really wanted to speak about since ages now. This topic is going to be how niche approach towards fitness or niche category of fitness is evolving in the Indian fitness industry. What kind of hardships does one person face in order to go about teaching it? What are the pros? What are the cons? And what is the entire experience of being a niche teacher or a niche service provider? So, Joanna, I'm really looking forward to have this conversation. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, and hello to everyone that is listening to us.
Awesome. Joanna, how are you feeling?
Very
keeping
good.
Keeping in mind everything is like all over the place while we are recording this podcast.
Well, it's a good thing that most of the time I'm at home training myself and training my students. So,
You are one of those people who train the most. As I know a lot of people who train a lot. You are in that top 1% of the 1% who keeps training all the time. So whatever conversation I have with Joanna is always about like, okay, my back is stiff. I might have hurt myself. I think I have overdoing it.
that
And
is true. So, coincidentally, the 2 times I got injured last year severely was not from moving, it was actually from the lack of movement. So, it was when I was studying my nutrition course, and for 6 days in a row, I was just staring at my laptop for like 8 hours a day. And those are the only 2 times I actually got injured. So, lack of movement equals injury. Moving in the right way keeps you perfectly healthy and fine.
and that's so weird that I asked you, how are you feeling out those 2 times itself? My timing might be off. But Joanna, okay, let's jump on the topic of this beautiful conversation. What is pole fitness?
So, pole fitness and pole dance, to me, they're one and the same, because I think different people like moving and exercising differently. Dance to me has been my passion for the longest time. And with pole fitness, you get to combine the strength and the grace of dance, but also with the strength of a body weight workout, because you need to have core strength, you need to build your upper body strength, you need to build your leg strength. And the combination of both, along with doing skill-based tricks on the pole, I think is absolutely perfect. Because when you learn to lift your own body weight up or do a flip off of the pole, trust me, the confidence boost you get after that is amazing.
I can imagine. But a lot of people over here, and I'm pretty sure if I wasn't exposed to you, I didn't have the good fortune of meeting you and other people in this industry earlier, I wouldn't have any idea of what you're doing. So for a layman's term, if they had to visualize what is pole fitness, how would you make them visualize it?
So I would say you think of the pole just as an apparatus. It's just a tool that you're using, the same way like you'd use a dumbbell or a kettlebell. And then you want to think of combining dance moves with strength moves, with a little bit of calisthenics, with a little bit of acrobatic work or gymnastics work, and putting all of that together using the apparatus
Mm-hmm.
is kind of what you get with pole dance.
Mm-hmm. And the pole is a rotating pole that you have to set it up by yourself. And then you have to do all the movements on it, which is like predominantly
Correct.
body weight movements, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in my experience of doing pole fitness, I have had two encounters with pole fitness. One was sober and one was drunk. In both of the experience, one thing was common. And the common part was it was extremely difficult. So when I see Joanna doing what she's doing with all that grace and with like without any flaws, it's just mesmerizing and it's honestly annoying to see her doing it with such ease. And I consider myself to be decently fit. I consider myself to be decently strong. And I can still say it has been the most difficult thing I've done till date. So, Joanna, how do you go about training or how do you start your journey in pole fitness?
So honestly, I started my journey in pole fitness. I want to say it was 2015 or 2016 in the UAE. I was living there. And when I went to my first class, honestly, I had a dance background, so I was very flexible, but no strength. And I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to be able to do this. And I went to class and I actually couldn't even pick my toes up like 2 millimeters off of the ground. So I was just like super devastated because my heart was in it. And with me, there were two other women that were at least a decade older than me, and they also couldn't do anything. And I didn't go back. I went back after 2 months. And when I went back after 2 months, I saw these same two women who were much older than me upside down, hanging off of the pole, like almost on the ceiling. And I was like, okay, if they can do this, I know I can do this. And I just have to be consistent. And that's kind of where I started my journey from. And I continued training here. It does involve a lot of core work. It's not your average workout. It's a very different type of workout. The type of core training that we do to get your body to do the moves that we do, I would say it's closer to how you train for calisthenics versus at a gym.
And which is fascinating, right? I mean, a lot of people who actually go into the pole fitness sessions, they have an idea of what a pole fitness session is. But for a layman who's just venturing into it or who's just watching it for the first time, they might confuse it with actual pole dancing, isn't it?
So yes, and it is a combination of the both. So I wouldn't entirely like segregate it. You do have pole fitness classes that focus just on conditioning and they don't really do any routine out of it. The style that I like kind of involves both. You do need one to complement the other. So even if you do look at the men that do come for class, you have a style that is very sexy and very fluid, and there's some people that like to do that. And then there's also a style that's super sporty, and that involves a lot of gymnastic style training because you're mostly doing a lot of flips and aerial work. So it just depends on what style you're used to, whether you come as a man to the class or even as a woman, there's different styles to it.
Getting it. It's so interesting, right? Because it's such a different way of achieving higher strength levels and higher levels of fitness. It's beautiful. And that is the best part about fitness, I feel, because you have so many different approaches and so many different routes to achieve a better version of yourself. And pole fitness is one of those routes where you have to look beautiful, you have to look hot, you have to look sexy, you have to be that graceful and still be able to do things that I don't think 99.99% of the population can be able to do. So it's beautiful what you do. And yeah, so that brings me to the second question. Like, so when you think about this journey of being a pole fitness teacher, how did you come across teaching other people?
So I never started with the intention of teaching, although I have been in the industry for a long time. I've taught dance professionally for 3 years. I've taught yoga. And the first time I came across pole dancing in the way that the style that I like to do is in 2011. I think YouTube had just about become a big thing then. And I watched this one teacher, her name is Janine Butterfly, and I watched her competition performance. And it is like, I would recommend that. And I can send out the link for that. If you watch that, it'll blow your mind. what she does on the pole, like the amount of control and strength that you have to have in your body. And to see a woman do that, I was like, I want to be like this person. And when I started it, I definitely started it for myself, because that's actually how I've started everything, whether it was dance or yoga or pole dance. It was first for me because that's where my passion came from. And then when I saw what a difference it made in me, not only in physical strength, but in terms of my confidence, it's something I wanted to share with people. And then eventually I went to New York in 2019 and I trained there intensively for 4 months so that I'm able to give that knowledge in the right way to people moving forward.
And you were telling me about how difficult those training days were. Those 4 months were absolutely difficult for you, right? So,
those 4 months were, it started off with maybe like 4 to 5 hours every alternate day, and it ended with 6 to 8 hours every single day.
Oh my God, I can just imagine doing. It's so difficult to even imagine that, because wow, it would have been so difficult. Like I remember that in that 40-minute class, I was dead, and doing it for like 6 hours a day for 4 months, that would have been like extremely difficult.
I was ripped.
That is another thing, right? I mean, like all of you guys look exceptionally hot. And I can say that in the most respectable way. You guys look hot while doing what you're doing, and you guys look hot outside of the thing also. So that's amazing. And that is why, if you guys haven't tried pole, I really feel that you guys, every single one of you, should be making an attempt to just check out what pole is. And we are going to like make sure that we send out the links over there and you guys can actually observe.
And okay? I do though want to say something, because I know that there's very few really good teachers and people who are trained in India. And most of us, like from the friends that I know who've trained, we all come from fitness backgrounds. So I think also because there's not that much exposure here, when people look at us, they're only seeing the 3 or 4 of us who have been in the industry for a while. So we already have that strength. They haven't seen us from the beginning. So it does kind of also lead to the misconception that, oh, I have to already be strong to come to a pole dance class, or I have to already be flexible to come to a pole dance class, which I know you have also told me many times. But
it's just so weird, right? Because I keep telling people that you don't have to be fit to achieve something. And ironically, I am one of those people who are like, you know what, I'm not strong enough to be a part of your class. It's just so messed up. But yes, that is the thing with fitness. You don't have to be at a certain point to be able to start your journey. You're always going to get better. So it's better that you start in the most basic form.
And every type of fitness, every style of fitness, even what you do and even what I do, has an intro level. Like you don't go to fitness class where they're like, okay, lift 50 kgs right now. You're going to start at your basics. So I started with basics. I can only do pull-ups because of pole dancing. It is not the other way around. So
yeah, that speaks volumes about what the approach should be. But how has your experience been coming into a different country altogether? I know that you were in UAE, then New York, you learned your certifications, did the certifications from New York, then you came over here. And then did you start off training just like that? And if you did, what kind of experience you've had in the last 3 years now?
So I have been pole dancing for at least almost 3 years before I actually started teaching itself. So I did have a lot of people who approached me even before and asked me to teach them. But coming from the industry, I understand that to be good at something versus being trained as a teacher in that form are two very different things. And I'm sure that you know that. And I respect the art of teaching. So I was not comfortable teaching till I had actually completed a teacher training course and a significant number of hours. I was also actually conscious about teaching here. I wasn't sure what the response would be. But surprisingly, and I don't know if that's just because I started out in Mumbai, but the response has actually been super positive. When most of the response I've gotten from women, from men, from people my age, from my parents' friends, is just like, oh my God, wow, like you're so strong. That's the compliment I get. More than I get the you're so sexy, I get the you're so strong. And I actually really like that, because now when I look at myself, I know I'm not just saying it, like I can lift my entire body weight up. I can do a lot of things. So I'm like, okay, I am strong. So it's been very positive. There are a few people who have seen my journey from the beginning. So they're always like, oh my God, I saw when you used to struggle and I can see what you do now. And one of the best things I did see actually when I was teaching group classes, because there you get to see people who come and do it recreationally. So they're not coming from a fitness background. And a lot of the compliments I got was like, oh my God, there's people of different body types. Or, oh, I can see that different people are coming and everyone can lift their body weight up, or everyone can do this skill. And that's the thing I like the most, because that is what changes perception. When you see somebody that looks like you or comes from the same background as you and they can do something that you thought you couldn't, that kind of pushes you to be like, oh, okay, I can do that too. So it's been mostly positive.
I can totally imagine and I can totally resonate with what you're saying, because I think fitness in generality right now, a lot of us are maturing enough to understand that you can be of different body types and different fitness levels and still be a part of a group setting, which is like together as a collective trying to get better. And that is something that has happened very recently. Before that, people were always intimidated. People were always looking at other people, and even us as fitness coaches, we only encouraged the fitter looking crowd. We only encouraged the better looking people as our advertisement, as our banners and stuff like that. And that's why people always had that kind of notion that, you know what, I won't be able to do it. But right now, in the entire group setting, I don't know how it started, but the idea of inclusivity has been embraced by everyone. And I'm super happy that you didn't have that kind of hardships. Keeping in mind whatever's happening in this country, and keeping in mind that what kind of majority of the population is, which are not well exposed to either fitness or either pole fitness for that matter, it would have gone sideways also. And that is what I would wanted to ask you. Like, never had any kind of problems in terms of like setting up a business or setting up your own classes, which are based upon doing something which is like totally different from the conventional way of working out. Okay. So how was that experience? How was people's reaction? There are people who are conservative in their approach. There are people who, I mean, there might have been so many things, man. So what kind of like hardships did you have? Or did you have it?
Yeah, we definitely did have a few. So I myself haven't yet set up in a studio, mostly because I moved back to Bombay by Jan 2020, and March 2020 was lockdown. So
Lovely.
my import of poles got stalled, everything got stalled. But hopefully it is happening soon. I am seriously planning that, because trust me, the vibe in a class and when you're moving with other bodies, it's just something, it's a different world. So some of the hardships that we did face, one is, yes, that people do just look at me or my fellow teachers and they're like, okay, I need to be stronger before I come. That is slowly starting to change as more people share their journeys with pole. So I think once we do have more group classes and we do people who are comfortable posting their own videos and sharing their own videos out there, it does inspire somebody else to come. Like, I know somebody might be thinking, oh, I'm not good enough yet, I can't do this move yet, I should not share my journey. But trust me, sharing your journey, even at the beginning, it does inspire somebody else. Other things is, yes, we do have people who are conscious about what they want to wear in class. And I do have to say is that, one, you can still do pole with like your track pants on and a t-shirt. It will be a different style. You might not be able to climb up the pole because you need that skin contact. But if you're somebody that still wants to enjoy the art form, but you're more comfortable being fully clothed, there's a full style that is just dedicated to moves around the pole and using the floor with the pole. So that is also something. So when I say that there are styles for everybody, I don't just mean in terms of fitness level. I also just mean in terms of preference. We have students who have vertigo or who are much older, so they don't like to spin and they don't like to go upside down. So there are a whole section of moves that you can do just with them. So you still get to enjoy the art form. When I was in New York, there was a lady that was 70 years old who used to come to a lot of the classes that I used to be in. She was 70. Yeah. And she couldn't invert at that time. I think she can now because I saw her post recently. But at the time, she couldn't invert, but she would do a whole host of other things. She would do at least 3 or 4 classes every week. So yeah, that's one of the other hardships. I'm trying to think of anything else that we did face. Yeah, so a lot of people also do think that we wear tiny clothes because we want to be sexy, and that isn't entirely true. You need the skin grip on the pole. Yeah, it is your skin that holds you on, which is why sometimes when you see us, we've got like purple bruises all around. And the more advanced your tricks get, the more skin contact you want to have. So that is the reason why some of our clothes are designed in a certain way, because not only are you holding the pole with your hands, you're holding it like in your elbow grip. So inside the elbow crease, you're holding it at the back of your knee. You're holding it sometimes literally with your hip flexor. That's your quad and your stomach. You're holding it sometimes literally with the side of your thigh and your ankle. So as it gets more advanced, it gets more dangerous, and the more skin you have on, the safer it is.
For those of you who have no idea, imagine yourself being suspended on a massive pole, at least around 5.5 or 7 feet high, around that height. And imagine just your inner thighs in contact with the pole, and say you're just dangling up with the grip of your hand. You're super tired. Your muscles are like at a state of fatigue. You are rotating, and it's very difficult to able to hold that and still look graceful.
And if you're sweating,
And
that
if you're
grip
sweating,
even
yeah.
tighter.
And imagine if a 70-year-old can do that. I mean, there is no limits for human body, right? At all. At any age, you can be able to do that. And that is amazing. And which is one thing which I love about fitness also. I was thinking and I was anticipating that you might have hardships in terms of, people thinking of or like over sexualizing the entire sport, or the approach would have been very negative, or the because we're talking about Bollywood, we're talking about the land of people who get turned on looking at navels of actresses. Okay, and having doing something like that or creating a business out of something which is like so different and at such a different frequency altogether, it would have been tough. But that is the thing about fitness. I think with fitness, people stop sexualizing bodies. They start looking at bodies as a unit, and they see what are the abilities of that particular person. And that is one thing which I love about what fitness is, and even in this country. So I'm super happy with whatever you've achieved so far. And yeah, let's take a break. Let's come back in a couple of minutes. And yes, let's talk about what are your future plans? What is flexibility, mobility? What do you do with yoga? And your experience of being in Indian fitness industry. So we'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned. And we are in conversation with Joanna, and I'm loving this conversation. Till then, just go and check out Joanna's profile.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. Episode 100! We've hit the 100th episode on Storytellers and Storytellers with Vineet Kanabar. Join us to take a look back at some of the best episodes so far. On Cyrus Says, Anushka Iyer, founder of Wiggles, tells Cyrus all about her pet care company. They chat about their mutual love for pets and how to best care from them. On The Habit Coach, Ashton learns 3 habits to better your handwriting from graphologist Imran Beg. On Fin Talks at Bob World, Akhil Handa talks to Gurjot Pal Singh. He's the CEO of Tide In. They discuss its digital banking services. In a new series called Ek Sawal Kai Jawab, the Pulyabazi hosts analyze why the number of government companies is increasing rapidly. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Also, don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms you're listening to us on. And you can also check us out on YouTube. You can have a list of all of our shows at ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Bank of Baroda and CoinSwitch Kuber.
Welcome back. We are in conversation with Joanna. We have been speaking about pole and length, and I want to just touch some more topics about the pole fitness in general. So, Joanna, first of all, predominantly your audience has been female. Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah. Predominantly.
First of all, predominantly even my audience has been female, just because I think with the entire idea of like group setting, a lot of females embrace the idea of group setting, but with men, I don't think so, man. I don't know, like they don't like group workouts for some reason. Kind of like hampers their testosterone level for some reason, I feel. But all jokes aside, I have seen some really strong men, some really strong individuals from all genders, to be honest, being a part of the pole sessions. And you want to like let the audience know that it's open for everyone and everybody should try it. And how do you go about it? So how do you make sure that you also reach out to different genders except women to make sure that you're part of or they're trying something that's like as focused as pole dance or pole.
So pole dance, at least especially if you are coming to any of my classes, it is open to all genders. And the things that I must say is that there are, like I mentioned before, there are different styles. So when I was in New York, I trained under at least 4 different male instructors. My mentor for the entire 4 months that I was there was a male instructor, and one of the strongest bodies that I've seen and strongest teachers. Like he got me from like 0 to 100 like really fast. And like I would say again, there are different styles. So there are the more sexual fluid styles that an individual, male or female, or any gender might prefer. And then there are the more sporty sides to it, which involves your tricks and your flips and literally flying from one pole to the other. So it entirely depends on the individual style and what your personality that you want to bring out, what brings you joy. So I would definitely say it is open to everyone, and you need to come with an open mind and give it a try. Yeah, the coming with an open mind is the key part, because most people come with a sense of, oh, I should be able to do this. And then you come to that class and maybe you can do it, maybe you can't. And that's what happened to me. I went to my first class saying, oh, I should be able to do this, with a little bit of an ego. And then I couldn't do it and I didn't go back. Now, if I had never gone back, I would not be where I am today, because I would have let my ego stand in my way. Fortunately, I paid for 10 classes and it was super expensive, because it was like, so I had to go back to use my money that I already paid for. And only because I went back did I see that progress. And most of my students, when they come to me, it's only by their fourth or fifth class, you kind of see a difference, because your first class, whether you're male, female, whether you have a fitness background or you don't, your first class is always disorienting. You don't understand left, right, up, down, circular, nothing. Like nothing functions. It's an overload of information. So I would say give yourself 4 classes and you will see that difference.
No, but that is the thing, right? I mean, you really have to be a really good teacher to be able to make sure that your students are absorbing and not getting intimidated, right? So how does one as a student go about their starting their full journey? How to find out like if or where the coaches or the instructors are really good, and then like what are the things
Criteria.
or what are the problems exactly? What are the criteria?
So I would say definitely look for a teacher that one preferably does have an actual teacher training certificate, because like I've mentioned before, just because somebody is good at a certain art form, no matter what it is, doesn't always translate into them being a good teacher, and vice versa. Yeah. And the other thing is experience. You want somebody that has significantly trained themselves. So if you look at their journey, you should be able to see where they came from and where they are now. If they're at the same place month after month, year after year, then they're not progressing. And one of the other things is that also, if possible, that they've had experience under other teachers. Now, that is a little bit challenging, because here in India, like I know about 4 of us in total that I would recommend as teachers between Delhi, Pune, and Bombay, or 5. And the thing is that we're at the top level here. There's no one for us to learn from here in this country. So unless you've had the opportunity to go abroad and train, then you may not have that teaching experience under other teachers. Like when I was in New York, I've trained under at least 25 different teachers, significant, like a good amount under each of them. That isn't an opportunity for everybody, which doesn't mean that they're not skilled in their own field. They are. A lot of them do online classes now. That is the one benefit of COVID, that we've had the opportunity to train with foreign teachers online. So yeah, you want to look for somebody that has a mentor that's better than them, that they're constantly learning from, not only as a student, but as a teacher, so that they've spent hours kind of assisting other teachers, somebody that themselves is constantly growing, and preferably if they have a teacher training certificate as well. Like if you're leaving those classes class after class with an injury, something is wrong. Yeah, so
it's important to ask these questions, right?
Yeah,
it's like if you are going to be venturing into something which is like as niche as pole fitness is, you want to make sure that you have your questions for the instructors ready. First of all, the certifications, your experience, and then also like a background check of like the Instagram profile and what their journey has been. Okay.
And I know it's a little bit hard because there's not that much exposure in India. So you might look at something online, and if that's the only person, like you said, if you didn't know me, you wouldn't know what it was. So if the only person that you've seen is somebody that isn't really showcasing the true art of pole dance, that is the only thing that you're going to know. So hopefully with me and my other colleagues and friends in the industry, we're trying to get the right knowledge out there and the right exposure. And I can share their handles with you as well. So please, if you all can, please share our work as much as possible. Like very recently, I actually came across one of the India's Got Talents like videos, and it wasn't like what I would consider showcasing the best of what pole dance can actually bring. And a good thing that I do want to share is that my friend Nupur from Pune will be in India's Got Talent's new season, which will be out, I think, now in Feb. So that is something I definitely want you to have a look at, because she is phenomenal. She's super strong. And that is really going to be a great platform for people to see what pole dance actually is, especially in India.
That's so exciting to see that like somebody who is like credible enough is actually like coming in. I'm not saying that the other person wasn't credible, but something is like really, really, really good at what she does.
Yeah.
And coming in and it's also like one of the instructors, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, very excited.
And coming in, it's such a mainstream. Yes.
And I'm definitely going to share, like, whenever any video of ours comes out, I will be sharing it. And I would recommend for everybody just to share our work so that there's more exposure, because it is a very niche art form.
Lovely. And one last thing about the pole fitness. Is it very injury prone? Like when I see it, I always see like, oh wow, that was hurt. If anything goes wrong, that would have been like really painful. Okay. And that's why like a good instructor really matters a lot more, if I'm not wrong. So how do you make sure that you assure the individuals who are going to participate in the pole fitness training that, okay, you know what, you're in good hands. So you don't have to worry about it. And you're not going to hurt yourself. So how do you make sure that you have that conversation?
Right. So if a student, like I said, is going to a teacher that is trained, they will have proper conditioning in place from every level. So we don't start with you going straight on the pole. Like I said, I built my strength from scratch. And I obviously did have injuries in the beginning because, again, I went to teachers that weren't completely knowledgeable, and they also didn't have access to anything better than that. And slowly I got to know better, which is why I'm trying to like do better for other people. So if your conditioning is right, and if you're progressing step by step and the teacher's showing you different progressions, that's the best way to learn. I would also say, because I know a lot of people out there go to a class and they only want to do something that's Instagrammable. But like Kunal said, yes, this is an art form where if you do the wrong thing, or if you try to progress too quickly, you can get injured and it will set you back. So you will get to that Instagrammable shot. Do not worry. Go step by step. And the best part is that Kunal is going to come and try it out and do some amazing things on the pole and show you what the men out there can do.
Yes, and which is going to be very Instagrammable, because I want to make sure that I increase my followers. So I've been like using all the trending music, and I've been it's on my bucket list to make sure that I come and I make sure that I'm doing a super cool pole fitness session with you guys and take a lot of videos over there. But yeah, just make sure that if you guys are going over there, don't worry about it. You are in safe hands. And if you've done your background research well about the instructors, so don't worry about the injuries, because the only job that we have as instructors is to make sure that you are reaching at a higher level while making sure that all the safety measures are being taken care of. And yeah, Joanna, we are going to ask you about all the profiles that you were talking about, all the individuals, all the 5 individuals that you were talking about, and we are going to make sure that we upload them in the bio. So that's that. And Joanna, pole is not the only thing which you end up doing, right? You end up doing a lot of things, like trained dancer. You literally named all the dance forms which I knew in my life. You said that you were trained in them. You are also a mobility and flexibility coach. You're a yoga coach. So how? Like, how does one get to be so exposed and so learned in different versions and approaches of fitness and be good at it?
Well, fortunately for me, I started when I was very young. I first did ballet when I was in the 5th grade. And I genuinely just love dancing. Like my best friend and I danced most of our lives. School competitions, college competitions, like local competitions. We were in everything. And then we eventually joined a dance company. And honestly, like you keep saying that every time you talk to me, I'm training. But a lot of it is genuinely because I love moving. Like moving for me relaxes me. If I'm stressed, if I'm overthinking anything, if I'm having a bad day, movement and dancing just completely stills my mind and clears everything. And by default, I get stronger. So it genuinely is something I like. Fortunately, I did have the opportunity to train in many dance forms when I was just 17. So I've done like ballet, contemporary jazz, Latin ballroom. And eventually like I said, my interest in yoga initially just started from me wanting to have that as my own practice. And that's where I did my teacher training. And only later did I actually start teaching. And when I started, my body would do quite a few things that I would say, okay, it's great. I never had the expectation of doing anything better because I was like, okay, I'm this age. How much better is it going to get? But then unfortunately, the good part about social media again is exposure. I saw so many other bodies of people who started moving only when they were in their mid 30s, some even early 40s, and now they're in their mid 40s to 50s. And I could see that improvement. So normally you think, oh, I can do a split when I'm 15 or 16. Now I'm 25, I'm 30, whatever, I can't do it. And I saw people who couldn't do anything when they were 30, and they could do a full back bend or a full split when they were 45. And like I said, it's exposure that changes your mind. That's what changed my perception. So then I started to move towards contortion. And my new goal that I want to share with everybody is that I want my head to touch my butt. That is my goal. That's called a headset. That is my goal for the new year, along with a handstand. So
so much for exposure. I mean, like, I know that your body can do a lot of things, but this is a very specific goal.
It's called
such a painful goal.
It is not painful. It is called a headset, and anyone that is true to contortion, nothing hurts. You have to be. See, you can't at that level. It's like if you have to lift like 100 kgs overhead. You know how focused you have to be when you're doing that. There's no room for error. So it's the same when you're working on a flexibility goal or even like a handstand or something that's where you're pushing your body to that limit. You're so zoned in and you're so focused that it's one of the best feelings.
First of all the best for doing that. I'm pretty sure that you can do that in the next couple of months for sure. Just the thing is, like, contortion for me sounds painful because I have had background of lifting weights, strength training, predominantly working out and doing a lot of like body weight movements and stuff like that. So for me, flexibility has always been an issue, and that comes naturally with all the things which I've been doing. But one thing which I can totally resonate is the love for movement. Have to make sure that you really love the idea of moving. And if you love the idea of moving, I don't think so there's anything that's going to stop you. Like, you always want to try out different things. You always try and achieve the higher version of yourself so that you want to see what your body can achieve. And that is beautiful. So I can totally relate to it. And now I knew the answer, first of all, when I asked you that, because we had this conversation earlier, but I totally understand where you're coming from. And I understand this because I have been doing a lot of different things, right from kettlebell, right from weightlifting, right from powerlifting, right from like bodyweight workouts, calisthenics and stuff like that. It's only because my love for movement and nothing else. Yeah. And it's so beautiful, like my love for movement and your love for movement is defined in such different ways altogether.
It shows, like if somebody has to watch any of your posts, whether you're doing a kettlebell workout or working on a skill-based thing or doing a strength-based thing, you can see the difference in somebody that goes to the gym and is working out because they've been told to work out, and somebody that's doing any form of workout, whether it's dance, weights, whatever it is, because they genuinely enjoy it.
Exactly. Oh, jinx. But so beautiful, right? Or like I love talking to individuals who love the idea of movement, and that is what I do, and that is what you have been a part of. Unlock also, for that matter, has always been the idea of like exposing people to different forms of movement. Even before Unlock, when I had those sessions called as movement, that was the idea of like, you know what, you have to make sure that you know something, that you have to be exposed to different modalities of working out, so that you end up eventually falling in love with one modality, and so that you can be consistent. Because if you don't love what you do in terms of like moving, you will never be consistent. And if you're never consistent, then you won't see changes. And that's that. So you have to make sure that you love it.
I do think that there is one thing that makes a difference, which is similar to what we were talking about before. And you said, how does one pick the right coach? And I would say having the right coach also makes that difference. Because I've seen a difference also when people come to you, because you are one of the few coaches, again, that cares about people's actual alignment and them understanding the move. And only when they understand that move do they actually progress. And only when you progress do you learn to love something. Because if you never progress, you're just going to be like, this is not for me. I don't like this. So I do think, like, even when I've seen you coach the people under you, I think it's because you coach the way that you coach, that you create that love and that joy in people. And then they share that in the community.
Yeah. And true love is infectious, right? I mean, if you love something so much, so bad, the other person has to like kind of has to be curious, like, okay, why does this person really loves this thing so much? And then like eventually that transfer of love is always going to happen, I feel. And that is what coaching is all about. I mean, like, it's just about like sharing your love for something that you do. And yeah, it's beautiful. I love what we do for a living. It's just like spreading love for movement. Nothing else. So Joanna, one last thing. Why do you guys wear heels in pole fitness?
Oh my God. I wish this was a video recorded live because then I would have shown heels. So again, that is an aesthetic and it is a style. I wouldn't say there's much fitness benefit from that, although it's pretty much like doing a workout with ankle weights on the whole time
Okay.
because they're heavy. But it is aesthetically pleasing. I personally love them. My heels are 8 inches high.
8 inches high. Those are not heels, those are platforms.
Yeah, so it's a 4 inch platform and an 8 inch heel. They go up to 10 inches or more.
Oh my
But
God.
I'm not a very tall individual, so 8 inches works for me. And yeah, so like I said in pole, there's different types of styles. So that comes more from an erotic style dancing, which is, again, it's just a lot of floor work. It's a completely different style and it is a different technique. You do, again, need different conditioning for your ankles and your feet to do that properly and not get injured. I personally love it because if you see some of the dancers that are super fluid with their legs, it just looks amazing. And it makes you feel so confident. Like wearing those heels, like if you're in a bad mood, if you're like, oh, I don't feel like working out today, put those heels on and you're ready to go.
So interesting.
And I will just put this out there that a lot of the men wear heels too.
I know. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like a lot of men also wear those heels and they look beautiful though. They really look beautiful because they carry it off like so well. And if you think if you can carry off something so well, I mean like nothing is, as I said, right? Like coming back to the center, I think it's like a complete circle. You start appreciating the movement itself and not the body. It's different. So yeah, that was one pressing matter which I really
so glad you asked. I totally forgot about that, and that is one of the things I absolutely love about pole dance.
Lovely. So what are your future plans now? I mean, keeping in mind that you're starting your group sessions or you're just about to start your studio, if I'm not wrong.
We are in the process of getting everything.
Fingers crossed.
And if the COVID gods out there want to let everything work out the way that it should, I'm hopefully will be able to do it. And one of the things I do want, again, for people to have access to is higher ceilings. So with pole dance, it does matter whether you've got a 9-foot ceiling, 10, 11, 12, 13. The higher you can, obviously, the more you can do because pole is about using the apparatus and being able to climb all the way up. So hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes as planned. And then, yeah, my goal is, again, to have as many people as possible exposed to this. Because every time somebody comes to me, the one thing I hear from every single person is, oh my God, I didn't think I could do that. And now I can and I feel amazing. Like that, it's from every person. I told them, I was like, now I need to start recording everyone so I can make a compilation video. So it brings me a lot of joy to see that in somebody. I'll give you like the best example that ever happened to me. A lovely lady that was training with me at the beginning of the year. And then I got a message from her boyfriend on Instagram, and he wanted to buy like another package for her for the next month as a surprise for her birthday. But he was like, I have seen her confidence skyrocket since she's come to you. I cannot believe how confident she is. So I really want to gift this to her for her birthday. And that I think was one of the best compliments I've ever got. So yes, I love seeing that change in people. And that's kind of what motivates me to continue doing what I'm doing, because one of the challenges is that it's a very solitary thing. Like I don't have a lot of people to train with. So I'm sure you know this, training by yourself is, you really need to be mental to push yourself forward. But when you see the people that you work with and you see the joy that it brings them, that does help. So yes, my future goals is to have more people experience that level of confidence and that like boost in their self-esteem.
That was such a beautiful way to go about it. I think once you have such an abstract goal, all the materialistic goals just follow afterwards. I mean, like they don't even matter, to be honest. But abstract goals are the way to go about it, because if you have something which is so abstract, you're never satisfied. You always want to keep spreading the love. You always want to keep making sure that you're making that change in people's life. And yeah, I can totally resonate with that. I've had my share of these compliments, these life-changing compliments of people feeling confident, of people feeling that they are something now, and before that they weren't something. The kind of like self-confidence boost, the kind of changes in their life, the changes in their personality. And it's so powerful to be at a point that, okay, you were a part of, or you were a small part of this entire transformation. So I can totally imagine that. And all the best for you. And I am pretty sure that whenever the COVID gods kind of take a break, your studio is going to come in and it's going to make sure it's going to change the face of Indian fitness industry. And all the best for you, Joanna.
Thank you very much.
And I'm going to be there. I'm going to make sure that I'm at the background.
You will not be at the background. You need to be front and center.
Yeah, I'm going to start working out to look better. I won't say I'm starting to work out to be a part of it.
Because we are promoting a body positive.
Okay, so I'll have a couple of beers and come. So I'll be bloated and then do it.
Not about just come as you are.
Yes, and body positive.
There's a lot like pole double tricks. So I need to get your skill level up so we can do some of that.
I'm really looking forward to it. In all seriousness, I'm really looking forward to it. I really want to see. Age is not on my side. I'm getting closer to 30 now. Yes.
Hello. I've crossed that already. So I'm sorry. That is not an excuse.
I feel older while sitting at home. So I really want to make sure that I keep on trying and keep on pushing my physical limits. And what better way to go about it than to do pole fitness. So thank you, Joanna. Thank you so much for this amazing conversation. I really hope you enjoyed. I really hope the listeners enjoyed. And people, just make sure that you reach out to Joanna if you need anything. And even if you don't need anything, just make sure that you reach out to Joanna. Just check her Instagram profile. Just see what pole fitness is. She's a personification of what she is talking about. Joanna, how do people reach out to you?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at joanna.michelle.11 and also on my website, which is joannamichelle.in.
Awesome. And that's it. That is the conversation. Thank you for being a part of this raw and organic conversation. And this is Kunal Rajput signing off. If you guys have no idea, if you guys have stumbled upon this podcast, my Instagram handle is subtle.strength. It's subtle.strength. And yeah, just shirtless pictures and trending music or reels. That is what I'm uploading right now because I want more followers. So please follow me. Thank you.
Do you like true crime stories? Do you like to learn about the people behind some horrible, awful crimes? More specifically, women that may have committed these crimes. Actually, Indian criminals that are women? Then we'd like to welcome you to our podcast, Misconduct. My name is Raghavi.
And I am Nisha.
We cover themes like murder, dacoity, drug trafficking, financial fraud, kidnapping, and many more.
You can catch us every Wednesday on the IVM Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcast.
Habits? Routines? How exactly do they help us get better? Well, to simplify it for you, tune in to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashton Doctor and I'm going to be here to help you get better daily with some simple, easy to do habits that you can easily adapt to your life. So tune in to the Habit Coach podcast from Monday to Friday because I believe that awesome lives start with awesome habits.